Welcome into PM in the AM. Sundays will never be the same for your Philly sports coverage. I got Mike Lauro, and the only thing less annoying than the A.J. Brown conversation, the gobbler, Pat Bernard. What's going on, boys?
What's going on, man?
What's going on? How you been? Mike, we have a fun-filled Sunday on the program today. It is going to be loaded with that. Yeah, we got a lot of Mike. Just when I thought winter sports, as far as the Philadelphia Flyers and 76ers, were going to be, I wouldn't pay no attention to those two teams out of the was it not the Wells Fargo anymore? It's the Mobile Arena. But anyway, no, I think we may have found a diamond in the rough as far as the 76ers. Would you agree?
Yeah, the Rook's playing well. The Rook is playing very well. I'm not going to get too high on it. It was the Hornets, so I'm not going to get too high up on that. But
I mean, still, Mike, open the day, you dropped 34 points on the Boston Celtics. Yes, the Boston Celtics are not the same team that they were last year. There's no Porzingis. But still, and again, last night, the 76ers and Hornets, they went back and forth. 76ers, again, opened up great. Again, where the Hornets were kind of going back and forth. LaMelo Ball had a great game, but that's where the 76ers are going to get in trouble because they don't have a big man that can scare you. And again, Joel Embiid's not the same player. We got all that. But after there's no one where a offense are going to be able to cut down, go behind the back, make some great additions, cutting to the rim. That's where they're going to have their big offensive play. But still, Joel Embiid is still able to draw the 3-on-1 defenders. Joel Embiid's still able. Last night, he drops 20 points. He went 3 for 6 from the three-point line. Tyrese Maxey's been balling out 28 points. I like what I seen in Quinn Grimes yesterday, coming off the bench and dropping the game-winning three. I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Sixers team.
Yeah, I like Grimes. I think he could possibly be the sixth man of the year this year in the NBA if he keeps up doing what he did last night. I do like that. But I love the Rook's courage. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he'll go right to the lane. He doesn't care who's there. And, in 2 games now that I've seen him, he's taking the ball to the hole. And if you don't need Joel Embiid to be Joel Embiid every night, this kid can more than, I think, help the situation with the Sixers. I like their young nucleus. Hopefully it's a good mesh between vets and young players, and maybe they can make some noise in the East this year. That's still waiting to be seen. My biggest takeaway was from the other team that plays in that building, and how they looked yesterday. Right now they're sitting at 4-3-1 in their 8 games. If you looked at that schedule when it first came out, we were saying 0-6, 0-7. So just the fact that they have a winning record coming out of that tough stretch, okay, which does continue Tuesday night, right? Because they got the Penguins coming in. The Penguins are, fiery hot. You have the Predators, who are also, playing really good hockey. So the Flyers got some guys coming in.
No, I agree with you. I think, again, you mentioned the Flyers, right? 4-3-1. Again, winning a shootout last night. But, again, it's help from the new guys, the new improved guys to the team. What's his name? Not Taylor. Sorry, Tavares Zegras. Zegras with a pair of goals. Christian Dvorak getting a goal. Again, when these, the connection there has been really, really well. Zegras just getting opening in open space, finding Christian Dvorak. Dvorak finding him. These guys taking the puck down the lane. Finally forcing a power play goal. All that stuff. And again, if I'm going to knock the Flyers from what I've seen in this small sample size, is the power plays look unorganized. It looks too sloppy. They're trying to force passes where you don't need to do it. Again, that's the design play. But if you see that there's 3 defenders clogging up the middle and it's going to backfire on you, yeah, that's going to be the issue. But other than that, again, youth going wild at the ex-Mobile Arena, whether it's VJ Edcombe with the 76ers, whether it's Mitch Koff, Aronell kind of take off, and Mitch Koff now winning winning the shootout yesterday. These are all good positive signs coming from that building.
It is, and I like the fact too that with Zegras, what Trevor Zegras did yesterday with him and Dvorak. I mean, you're looking at 3. They had 3 points yesterday, and also too, if you really want to be technical, Zegras scores in the shootout, so he actually had 3 goals yesterday. If you really look at it,
well, Zegras had 3 points because he had two goals and an assist.
Right, but he also scored. He also scored in the shootout, which I feel like that they should count.
I think that goes as an assist, doesn't it? On the
no,
it doesn't go at all.
No, it doesn't go at all. It's just if you score, you score. Yeah. But so technically he had 3 goals yesterday. But it's what the Flyers needed, because the Flyers need another line other than the Cates Forrester line, okay? And if this line can get rolling. Okay, because if you're looking at it, if Dvorak's on that line, Dvorak, Zegras, and Mitchkov, okay, that's your line 3, because your front line's got Couturier, Tippett, and Couturier, Tippett, and Konechny. So now that's going to help if you can get that line going. You don't have to deal so much on the Cates line as well. So if they can have 3 potential lines that are scoring, putting the puck in the net. That's huge. Still don't like Sam Harrison in net. Sam Harrison, to me, I'm sorry. Like, he's from right. Vladar is the starting goaltender. If I'm Rick Tocchet, Vladar gives them the best chance to win. The guy's averaging giving up 2 goals or under in games where Harrison's giving up 4. You know what I mean? 3 to 4. You can't have that.
And you're right. Listen, I'm not gonna. I was a guy who stayed. I was on loan on the Sam Harrison for a couple of years. Look, he stinks. It's just plain. It's just plain as day. He stinks. I don't know what's happened. I mean, I know yesterday he stopped 23 out of 26 shots yesterday, but still, even though when the other teams gets when they get the turnover and they're bringing down, they're on the breakaway. This is where you got to be key and make those stops. And he wasn't. He's just not what he was a couple of years ago. He's a backup. He's a serviceable backup, if that. This job does belong to Vladar. Vladar wants to be here. DeVar said all the right things. And again, he gets traded from the Flames. He comes over here. He wants to make a statement here. And listen, so far so good, because if you look at the Calgary Flames right now, they're on an 8-game losing streak. That team is falling apart quickly, and it's looking pretty bad for them. I mean, so again, I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Flyers. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the 76ers. I get it. The 76ers, season is fairly all new. It's 2 games in for the 76ers, but again, they looked really good. VJ Edgecombe looking really good. Like I said, Joel Embiid still control the 3-on-1 defender, still can hit a nice mid-range jump shot. Titus Maxey's balling out. So, Mike, like I said, are we happy for the winter teams, or you think that at some point the shoe's going to fall and both those teams are going to be in trouble?
I want to see the Sixers play the young guys a little more. I mean, because I feel like the more they play, the more experience they'll get. I'm happy with the Flyers right now, considering what they had to go through to start the season. I mean, that was a murderer's row your first 6 or 7 games. Okay? Murderer's row. And it doesn't get any easier. Like I said, they got Pittsburgh and Nashville coming up this week. Okay? Pittsburgh's playing out of their mind right now. They were projected. I told you, remember a couple weeks ago, I read off the odds to win the Stanley Cup. Pittsburgh, to win the Stanley Cup is like, they were crazy. Like, the Flyers have better odds to win the Stanley Cup than the Penguins. And right now, they're right there in second place in our division. And to be honest with you, the Dirty Devils are taking off, man. They started off hot. So I expect them to come back to the pack. The funny thing is the team that everybody was always raving about in our division, which is the Rangers, are kind of sitting in the next place. Like, they're only a point behind the Flyers, the Islanders, and whoever else. But if you look at the Eastern Conference, Pat, I brought up their thing earlier, right? Their standings. You will be surprised, dude, of like in the Eastern Conference right now, Montreal's got 14 points. The Devils have 14 points. Then right behind them, it's the Penguins with 13, Hurricanes and Red Wings with 12. All right. The Capitals have 12. And then you got the Panthers with 10. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 teams that have 8 points or 9 points, which is the Flyers are one of them. And then you have literally the Bruins, the Blue Jackets, and the Rangers all with 8. And then the team who's bringing up the rear in the Eastern Conference is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
like, who would ever have thought that?
Right, and again, it's hard for teams to repeat because and I'm not trying to make excuse for the Panthers, but maybe they're somewhat tired. But I'll get back to the Flyers. They have a great homestand record right now. They're 4-1 at home. I mean, this is pretty good for a team that's, on paper, as Flyer fans, didn't have much hope for, kind of like written them off like, listen, I'll tune in, I'll see what they can do. I'll see, again, the rebuilding process between them and the 76ers and see where it goes. But so far, you can't complain about this Flyers team because, again, they looked really good. We know there's a huge deficiency between the pipes, but maybe not. Maybe this is a as we like to call them, PennDOT, we maybe fix the pothole temporary for a little bit. And,
yeah, I mean, but Pat, if you look at their schedule coming for the week, right? The Penguins come in on Tuesday, right? And then they got the Predators coming in on Thursday. Now, I actually got their schedule up. They play the Penguins, Predators, Maple Leafs, and Flames all at home over this next week. They have 4 games this week. They have a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. So again, to me, I'm looking at this and I'm going, whoa, these are some heavy hitter teams, with maybe the exception of the Flames, who you said were losing. But, they literally play the Predators twice in a week.
Right. And you know what? So I find really fantastic about this Rick Tocchet, message so far. And again, if they can't get anything going as far as scoring, they'll drop the gloves. They're ready trying to get in someone's head. They want to play physical hockey. They want to fight you. They want to get things going. They want to send positive energy throughout their bench. They want to get things going. So if they're ready to drop the gloves and get, that's the message. Like, all right, guys, let's wake things up here. Let's go. Let's have a couple of fisticuffs with these guys. And so be it. Kind of wakes up that team. So now they're going to play physical hockey with you. It kind of reminds me of the old day Flyers tandem when Rick Tocchet was
that based on who's coaching them?
Right, and I actually poo-pooed him being the head coach, but so far he's run the engine.
Yeah, shocker, you were wrong there. What's really kind of noticeable that I'm looking on this this Flyers schedule. First Flyers Devils meetings not until November 22nd. November 22nd is they play the Devils on the 22nd here, and then they go to the Devils November 29th, which is I believe that's the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend.
So
the 29th is yes, it's Saturday.
Yeah, it's a Thanksgiving weekend. So
I mean, let me ask you, what are you taking from both teams so far? Are you feeling the positive vibes, or are you kind of being like, I'll wait for the other shoe to drop, or how are you taking the Flyers and 76ers right now?
Listen, Flyers. Well, we got 8 games under our belt so far. Sixers 2 games. Yeah, I'm not popping the cork or any champagne anytime soon. Listen, the Sixers. You beat a Boston Celtics that everybody knew going into the NBA season wasn't going to be great. Losing some key players to injuries right now. In the Flyers, time will tell with them. I think they're definitely on the uptick in my eyes. I really do feel like they're still missing a goaltender. The defense is kind of questionable, but the offense is getting better. The power play's got to get better. I mean, that's been going on for the last 2 years, even before. So we got to see if our coaching change makes a difference there, and it's going to take time with that and personnel changes. But they're trying to add in more than just young players on the Flyers team. So we got to see how that plays out. But, listen, I'm not getting sucked back in on the Sixers anytime soon. It's going to take, even though I am technically wearing a Sixers hoodie right now, but it is not, that just happens to be because I picked that one up. But my point is I'm not buying anything on the Sixers, and the Flyers are just fun to watch right now.
Yeah, listen, and I'm with you. Hey, good morning, Mickey. I'm with you. I look at this Flyers team, and again, and the 76ers, we're going to get into it as talk about the Phillies. Just when the Phillies kind of let us down, I just feel like maybe it's me just being optimistic about this team playing better, playing very good. Me kind of hoping that this team is going to both teams kind of rock it off. I feel like the 76ers found a diamond in the rough as far as a rookie. And I feel like the Flyers are coming on quick. Well, again, it's about their youth. It's about both teams getting youth. Daryl Morey said he wants to go younger. Flyers are going younger. Flyers are the fourth youngest team in the league right now. 10 of their guys are under 25 years old. So again, this is a good positive thing right now. Like I said, if this to me, it really comes down. Wasn't Danny Vidar? If Danny Vidar is going to be a sustainable goaltender, you don't know. We don't know where the season can go. But I don't want to hear excuses if we're like knocking on a playoff step and then we kind of backpedal it because everything falls on its face. And then I hear, well, it's a rebuilding season. You can't do that. Like if we're on, which is it? Are you taking a step forward or taking a step back?
Well, I see what you're saying, Pat, and you're talking about what 2 seasons ago when the Flyers, looked like they were going to make the playoffs pretty securely, and then kind of went on like a lost 12 of 14 games or something at the last bit of the season and kind of fell out. So yeah, I mean you can't have that. I don't care if you're in a rebuild mode or just a young team. You can't just drop. You can't be on a roll and then drop 12 or 14 games. It just doesn't work that way. But again, like take the Sixers for a second. VJ Edgecombe, just 2 sample sizes, like the 4th most points by a rookie in his first game in NBA history. That's great. Can he keep it up when he plays against a good defending team? I mean, and you can't listen. It's hard to judge anything because what would that look in a playoff situation versus a regular season situation? How different the NBA is. I mean, I think Joel played 20 minutes of this game against the Hornets. And
he played.
I think a reporter asked, "Well, what do you think that the team plays better when you're not on the court?" I mean, even his reaction was it was comical, and how he handled it was better than he usually does. But the Sixers, I got no hope for that team. No hope.
No, and listen, I get you, right? Because when you get to their bench, even though Drummond had 13 rebounds, which is nice, but again, that's where they're going to get beat at. Is the big man's not going to be able to push back because the 76ers, they like to run a 3-2 defense. They like to put guys, which they didn't do last year much. It's like they like to have guarding the perimeter defense, which they didn't have last year. But again, if you're going to have a big man come up front, that's where they're going to get cooked because someone's going to run right by them, and it's going to crush them. Again, they played against a better upcoming Hornets team because you got Colin Saxon, you got Miles Bridges, they got Lamar Ball, who kind of is balling right now, who had a double yesterday. Those guys are playing better with with the Hornets, and again, the 76ers are playing better. To me, keep Paul George, keep those old names off the floor. I think you're going to be okay because you've seen the Quentin Grimes coming off the bench, dropping 24 points, five 3-pointers. Like that helps big time.
Yeah, but how often is Quentin Grimes going to drop that many 3-pointers?
Right. He will go cold.
But having confidence in your shot like that helps.
No, the question is, will he have the same confidence if the shot goes cold? And that's it's sustainability, Pat. I mean, I think that's been the Sixers' kind of problem for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years now, is sustainability. I mean, how many times do we go to the playoffs and we get dropped by the second round because they can't sustain what they've been doing? Winning 50 plus games in the regular season is whoop-de-doo. Just kind of like you could talk about the Phillies for a moment. You looking really good during the regular season, but when it comes down to crunch time, it's you're not how your success is missing.
Well,
And then that's why
Al,
listen, having a good young core is good for the Sixers. But as long as, like you said, the old guard and the Embiids and the Paul Georges of the world, what's going to happen? What's going to happen
right.
when they have to put them back in?
Listen, like I said, we'll see when Jared McCain gets involved and all that stuff. But Al, you brought up a good point. I don't want to shift gears for a minute. So grab your stick and go to fourth gear.
Oh,
Mike,
here we
right?
go.
So
There we go.
Oh, here we go.
You gonna train me too, Pat? Yes, people. Somebody pays this man to train other people to do stuff. That should be a scary notion right there.
Yes. But listen, what's going on with this Phillies team? I mean, Bryce Harper, Dave Dombrowski, are they seeing eye to eye? Because it smells like there's trouble in paradise.
No, it's just Dave being old and not realizing he's got a hot mic, and he probably said something like how he feels. I don't think it's how the organization feels. It'll all get worked out. I mean, to Harper's credit, he didn't really kind of kill Dave. You know what I mean? So he kind of just
hurt.
He said he was hurt, but some nice chocolates and a case of beer could probably let that go.
Well, listen, here's my thing is it's. I think Dombrowski. I think normally as an organization, you don't go after a guy. You're stuck with him. Like you're in a relationship with him that you can't get out of. Mm-hmm. You can talk about trading Bryce Harper all you want, but he's not going anywhere. And to get a haul for Bryce Harper, to get him out of that contract, it's not going to be easy. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Some team would take Bryce Harper in a heartbeat.
Listen, Al, if you go through this, like none of these things are coming out of Philly about trading him. This is all Yankee fans who want him. Yankee fans want him so bad, but like their whole thing is they want to trade for Bryce Harper, but they want to give us bottom of the barrel prospects for Bryce Harper. That's if you listen to any of what the trade rumors are, it's like we're getting their like bottom 3 draft picks for Bryce Harper. Like,
yeah,
no.
well, that's what they're saying. They're going, oh, well, guess what? Yeah, you can have because we're taking on his contract and all this stuff. And here's my thing: was Dombrowski trying to light a fire under Harper's ass? Was that the intent there, or is Dombrowski and some of the Phillies organization getting tired of the bill of goods that they were sold to bring in him for a contract? And I guess the third question to that would be, are they correct in feeling that way?
No, and I think the front office is. Me personally, I think the front office is okay. Listen, it's this is what's happened for the past 3 to 4 years, postseason time, and not just Harper, but however Harper is the face of the franchise now. Kind of lets you down. And again, the aggressive swinging. Al, you and I have done plenty of postseason games. 2:00 in the morning. What are we talking about?
I never met you in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, listen, Monique
That's
said
a lie.
that in the morning.
I've never been there with him. Never met him.
So, I mean, how many? We talked about the same conversation: over aggressive, bat swinging, stuff in the ground. Why are we swinging it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same stuff. This team lets you down. All this hype, all this stuff, like you said, it's selling you a bag of goods. And again,
here's the thing: here's how I look at it,
and we get nothing.
Here's how I look at it, Pat. When we remember a few, 5, 6, was it been 5 years now? Jeez. That Bryce Harper's been here, right? 6 years actually. Bryce Harper's been here, right? And as an organization, it was him and Manny Machado. They were the two big names that could have been coming here. I mean, there was even a notion that maybe they'll get both of these guys, and I highly doubt that was going to happen. But hey, dreamers can dream. But my point is like you as an organization have to go out and you have to woo this guy and pay and get him to come here and him to choose this organization. Well, that was the honeymoon. Oh, the honeymoon's over now. And is maybe Dombrowski speaking for the organization? Did Mike Laro, did Dombrowski go rogue? Or do you feel that might even be an echo of the organization from John Middleton and other key contributors to this organization?
No, he went rogue. He went rogue. because he went rogue with that. I think he was just trying to send a message. You know, I think he's saying like with a healthy Bryce Harper. As far as him saying, he's saying what he saw this past year. Harper wasn't elite this year. He was good. He wasn't elite. I mean, that's what he said. And I think he was just talking about this year. I don't think he was talking about over the course of time here.
Well, I think the question was that also kind of probably set some people back was, do you think Harper can be an all-star MVP caliber player still? And he pretty much said no. Do you agree with that answer?
I don't agree with that answer because how does he know that he can't be another? You know what I mean? Like you don't know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah, I don't see. I know. I'm on the other side of the spectrum from it. I think that.
Well, we know that. We know that.
We do a show with you every week, Pat.
Yeah.
No, I think Dave's right. I think Dave's right on the money. He compared him to Freddie Freeman. He's still a good player, just not what he was years ago. And Father Time's starting to cash in a little bit year in and year out. Again, he hasn't. Ever since that London series last year, he still wasn't the same player. Yes, he still has pop in his bat. He's still a great player. He's still a great defensive player. All that stuff, that's all fun and yada. But again, it's funny because you say he's been here 6 years. He's got 2 MVP awards, and all that stuff means nothing because the World Series parade has yet to come through, and this is what all Philly fans were waiting for. And he's yet to, not just him though, because it's not but however, he is the face of the franchise, and knowing Bryce Harper, and if you known him for years past, he's not help out. He's not going to sit there and not say anything. Of course, he's going to rebuttal. That's how he has.
Well,
been,
I guess also a little bit falls onto the fact, Pat and Mike. We were not not too long ago talking about how Bryce Harper was asking for a raise or an extension.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy still got time on his contract, and he's asking for an extension. Is that because guys like Shohei Ohtani and all those guys are getting these big unwieldy contracts, and his was years before, and now he wants to get caught up with them, and but again, what does Shohei Ohtani have to show for World Series?
Right now, right now.
He shows a World Series, and they're in the driver's seat to possibly do another one. I mean, I know,
they're down 2.
They're down 2, but if any team can.
Yeah, who would have thunk that? Let's comment on that. Who would have thought for 1 second the way they roll through the National League that they would be down 2-0 to the Jays? I think the Jays are going to win it all. I don't see them. The Dodgers coming back.
At the beginning of the year with the betting, what were the numbers? What was the odds for the Blue Jays to win the World Series this year?
It was astronomical because they had, if I remember correctly, they had Boston in front of them. They had the Yankees in front of them, and I believe they also had Tampa in front of them. So, their odds was probably around 60 or 70 to 1 odds just to reach the World Series, let alone win it. So, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have them in my bingo card. I don't think anybody had the Toronto Blue Jays on their bingo card. Or even the Seattle Mariners making a run like they did. You got to get kudos to those guys too for making a nice little run. So
hey, look, Seattle's got pitching, man. If they ever can get some thumpers in their lineup, they're going to be a dangerous team. I'm sure you do. What's his name?
Billy from the Blue Oyster. But no, it's like I said, it's fun to watch. Again, the last time that the Blue Jays were in the World Series, and back in '93, they cashed in on winning. Of course, that broke my childhood of being 7 years old and my dad throwing a remote at the TV. And yeah,
she's right. I was going to say, who said they won last night?
That's right. Yeah, Dodgers.
Dodgers
won last night.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens when we listen to Pat.
Yeah, he's dumb.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, getting back to the situation at hand, though, the Phillies are going to need a major makeover at the end of the day. And it's like I said, I get the relationship right now between Dave Dombrowski, like Mike said. They're more like going to patch things up. You're going to have to. I mean, the guy's going to be here for some time. But still, I mean, again, Kyle Schwarber now is going to look to get paid. And does he deserve it? I mean, all those home runs, I mean, mean nothing because, coming up small in the playoffs, like my Pishka deal, it doesn't help out.
You're what? You're who? Never mind. Anyway, listen.
To
the two guys you can kiss goodbye from the Phillies is going to be Schwarber and Ranger Suarez. Both of them are gone. And the reason being is I think they got to go get a right-handed bat to protect Harper in the lineup, and they're not going to protect him. You can't sign Kyle Schwarber and go out and get Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso gets you a little more bang for your buck. He's a doubles hitter. He'll drive in runs. So,
yeah.
So I mean, for me, that's who I would look at. That's a perfect. That's a perfect protection for Bryce Harper in this lineup, and him and Bryce can take turns playing first base and DHing. We saw Harper have his best year ever in a Phillies uniform was the year he DH'd, the year that he didn't have to play the field. So I would start making Harper into a DH. And you sign Alonso, put Alonso at first. Alonso can play first base, and you can replace Ranger. We have kids coming up, so you got to give them a chance to play. You got to give guys like Crawford a chance to play. My two guys that I would re-sign would be Real Muto because they don't have a catcher in the farm system ready to come up.
Well, he was one of the few shining lights in my eyes in his postseason. And even before that,
I would sign him and Harrison Bader. Everybody else, kick rocks. Max Kepler, see you. Nice to know you.
So I agree with a lot of what you said. I like Schwarber. I really do. It's such a hard thing because he's a likable guy. He does produce, especially in the regular season. So far in the postseason for us, it hasn't been there that as much. And when he gets cold, or if he gets, even if he's hot, if everybody else is cold around him, he's useless. You walk him and move on to the next guy. But what it's going to cost is really the problem. 150 million for 4 years.
I mean, you figure he's going to double what he got. Okay, you're looking at he signed here for $75 million for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you figure if he's going to sign another 4 years, he's going to want at least 150. And I'm sorry, 150 for a DH? No. You could spend that same exact 150, go sign Pete Alonso for 3-4 years, and now you got a guy who can play first baseman and it protects your lineup. And Alonso's a line drive hitter, dude. He hits a lot of doubles. He'll hit singles. He drives runners in. He was right behind Schwarber with RBIs this year. He was right behind him. He doesn't really strike out a ton.
Where do you how about the Bohm situation? Like
he's gone.
I think a third baseman is needed.
He's gone. I would go after Alex Bregman, but I wouldn't give the money that people were putting out there for him. I would offer Bregman like a 2-3 year deal. I would no more than a 3 year deal because you got Aiden Miller. Aiden Miller is going to be your third baseman of the future. All right. So I would look at that. I would sign Bregman. I would offer him a 2 year, I would do a 2 year, $60 million contract. It's $35 million a year. I mean, he'd be nuts to turn that down.
Well, let me ask you this question. So, Nick Castellanos, if they can unload him, they move on from him. Do you move Brandon Marsh over to right, or no? Do you put maybe you move if you keep Harrison? You put Harrison at right, Marsh at left, and you have the youngin over at center field. Is that your lineup?
No, believe it or not, I think my lineup. They would all be in the lineup. I would keep Marsh in left, or I'm sorry, not Marsh. I would put I'd put Crawford in left, leave Bader in center, and put Marsh in right.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like our guest is here in the green room. Let me get him introduced here for you. Yeah, look, Pat brought a friend. Somebody likes Pat. That's not something often we get to say. But let's bring the man in. Michael Lyle Jr., welcome to the show, my friend.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you on this Sunday morning?
Good. How are you, Mike? Welcome.
Good morning.
Would you believe, gentlemen, Would you believe that I am just getting back from a flight from Las Vegas from a football game last night?
Wow.
Nice.
Time. I got off the plane maybe about 2.5 hours ago from Denver.
Oh, okay. What games you
Good.
see?
Lustrous.
Well, this was it was the HBC Classic in Las Vegas with Grambling State taking on Jackson State. First
Okay.
ever event. It was held at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play. So I got invited to go out there and check it out, and it was such an amazing experience, and it was a great game on top of that. So,
Man, well, if you ever get back out there, man, you got to do the tour of that stadium. That stadium is
I did.
unreal.
Oh, I did. It's such an amazing. No wonder why the Super Bowl was held there a couple of years ago because it's the paradise, just off the strip. The atmosphere was great. The hospitality was great. The food was great. Oh no, Allegiant Stadium's got a lot of things in there. I was like, wow, no wonder why this is such a power. No wonder why people talk about this place as they do.
All right, Mike. Well, listen, we're going to get right to the nuts and bolts of this thing. You are a New York Giants fan. We're bringing you on to get your insights on this game coming up today. We have friends of the show who are also New York Giants fans, and they were pretty much asking, like, did the Giants wake up the sleeping Giants 2 weeks ago, or do you believe that they are going to be I guess, kind of a nuisance to the rest of the NFC East?
Probably a nuisance to the rest of the NFC East because, yes, that was a big win a couple weeks ago against your boys, and it was nice to see how Jackson Dart got unglued and Scatterbo ran over you guys like, I guess you guys were like bowling pins. He just didn't say anything that got in his way, he just ran over. And the defense really locked down on Saquon, which was just as impressive. And they got to Jalen Hurts quite a few times. So took about an all-around solid performance. That was great. But then a week later, and I was at the game last Sunday against the Broncos out here, they had an opportunity to win that game. And what happened? 2 missed PATs. Defense didn't hold it down. They let the Broncos get back in the game. They ended up losing that thing in a heartbreaking fashion. So today, yeah, I know you have revenge is on your mind. But my question is, what Giants team is going to show up? Because right now, we go from a spiritual win like that against Philadelphia and turn around and come out here and do what we did and letting that lead get away, and then we lose the game. Now we got to try and go to Lincoln Financial Field, one of the toughest environments to play, and now we have to try and make good on that opportunity to try and sweep the Eagles for the first time in years. So it's a daunting task. I think we can do it, but it all depends on what team shows up today. Is it going to be a team that's going to be focused that wants to win, or is the team that's still reeling from what happened last weekend out here in Denver?
Yeah, Mike, I have a question for you. This is Al. I know you can't see me, but you can hear me. Is this as a fan? I know sometimes you got to separate analyst from fan for a moment here. As if looking from an analyst standpoint, is this the Giants taking the next steps to becoming an actually like legitimate team? Maybe not this year, but into the coming future, or is this an aberration, or is it just good timing against a faulty Eagles team that was dealing with some issues? And then we saw what we saw against the Broncos, where they kind of stepped in the proverbial cow pie there.
You can see a turn in the Giants right now. I mean, as I said last week, though, Brian Daboll's a hit or miss coach. And I say that loosely because there will be times he makes decisions that make you say, wow. And then other times you'll be like, what are you thinking, coach? So are they taking a step in that direction? Yes, because I think they have found their quarterback. Obviously, Russell Wilson was going to be – he's making a lot of money too, but Jackson Dart is better off being our starting quarterback right now because he's the one that's making the plays. He's also out there. I mean, he's a rookie. He's getting his feet wet. And he's got a young offense behind him that's working better as well. So you got these young players like Scatterbo. Like now we want to see that Adam. Now we got a running back now that we didn't know that we have a running back, and now we have some receivers. Our defense has stepped up a little bit. So there are improvements on both sides of the ball. But I would say another year out or so, we might be a contender. But right now, we're still in rebuilding mode, but we're getting there, and it's happening a little bit more faster. I mean, we didn't think we would be 2-5 right now, but given the circumstances, I guess we'll take it because there is still room for improvement. It's only October 26th, but we still have to show how much improvement we can make before the end of the season, and whether or not this indeed is a step in the right direction.
Hey, Mike, this is Mike again. My thing is with Brian Burns being out, right? I think that's going to kind of hinder your pass rush. I think Abdul Carter, who, by the way, I do a Penn State post game on our network here. I followed Abdul Carter his whole 4 years at Penn State. The one thing I do know about Abdul Carter is when he has to play a lot of snaps, he will wear down. Do you think with him today, with Burns being out, and also you got to remember too, in that first meeting, there was no Landon Dickerson in that game.
Right.
There was also no Jalen Carter in that game.
Right.
Both will be available today.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are going to struggle a little bit. The one area I do like with the Giants is your tight end. I love Theo Johnson. I think, again, another Penn State guy. I think he has done a really good job. He's kind of replaced Bellinger, really, as your starting tight end.
Yes.
And I like his I like how he's able to open the field up for you guys. My thing is this. What do you think the Giants are going to have to do today to slow down Jalen Carter coming up the middle
They're going to
today?
have to duplicate the same thing they did 2 weeks ago, even though he wasn't there. But the Giants are going to have to pretty much play flawless football today if they expect to win this ball game out there in Philadelphia. It's that simple. They're going to have to not make mistakes. They're going to have to limit their turnovers. They're going to have to limit the kicking game. I think they got that addressed now because we make those 2 PATs last week to win that game. Special teams has to be as flawless as it was against the Eagles the first time around. So it's going to be a case of deja vu. They're going to have to come out really strong. Dart's got to be sharp. Scannable's got to be strong. Our defense has to really clamp down Saquon like it did the first time. I don't know how it's going to be a lot different now with the roster. You could, like you said, certain players that were out the first game, but now they're back this game. So it's going to be a little more tougher. And I think if the Giants can come out the gates strong, at least set the tone early, they have a shot. Now, that's why you play 4 quarters of football because, we can come out strong, and all of a sudden, though, it doesn't take long for Saquon. Those guys get loose.
Well, guys,
let me
this
just-
is my man, Mike.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pat.
This is my man, Mike Lyle Jr. from KUNC Radio out there in Colorado. Mike, and again, I know you were at the game last week. I saw your posts and all that stuff. Great coverage. My question is, now, again, the Eagles get a big win out in Minnesota. They're playing with a little bit more confidence. How do you see your defense try and contain now a hot going Jalen Hurts, even though Jalen Hurts is not going to have A.J. Brown out there?
Same thing. Got to get to Jalen Hurts. That pass rush is going to have to get to him. And they're going to be challenged against it because after that first meeting, I'm sure the Eagles know what to expect this afternoon. So they're going to have to really, really clamp down defensively and get to him. And that's going to be the key to this game. Get to Jalen Hurts. He can't throw the ball. Stop the run for Saquon. They can't run the ball. But then on the other side of the ball, the Giants, like I said, are going to have to really, really lock in like they did the first game. They can't have any mistakes. In fact, another key stat, gentlemen, from that first game, which I also noticed is what's been going on with the Eagles lately, too, and I'm sure a lot of your fans are talking about this, the penalties. You guys hurt yourselves with a bunch of penalties in that first game. You guys got to limit the turnovers. You got to play mistake-free football. You can't have a certain number of penalties that add to certain, you had drives in that first game where you were moving the ball, but a stupid penalty here and there killed the drive. And all of a sudden you were going like you had 32, then you got 35, then the drive stalled because you made a penalty. So the Eagles are going to have to not be their own enemy today too, I think.
No, you're absolutely correct. And speaking of shooting yourself in the foot and everything, but my question to you is, watching Scatterbo and even Jackson Dart, they're young, they're playing hard and aggressive football, but can they sustain, especially Scatterbo, the way he runs, can that be sustained even for a year, let alone a career?
Do you remember Brandon Jacobs?
Yes.
That's what Scatterbo reminds me of. He's a big dude like a Brandon Jacobs. He's hard to tackle. He's muscular. He can move. He's young, which is scary that he's doing this at his rookie level. Can you imagine if he does get that more experience in a couple of years? He could be a force like a Brandon Jacobs. So I think as long as he's developing himself in this run game, he could definitely be, I wouldn't say emerging as one of the top running backs in the league, but he could certainly be a guy that can make some yards and get some yardage for the Giants in certain situations. And that opens up the passing game for Dart if he can do that. So the young players are stepping up. We like what we're seeing development-wise, but we're 2-5 right now, gentlemen. So I really don't see us doing much more than just showing consistent improvement and trying to build for the next year and the year after that. It's just right now, we got Dable as our coach. Like I said, he's a hit-or-miss coach sometimes, so I would hope that today he makes some decisions that will make sense. It's Giants fans around here get a little antsy with him sometimes too. Just like you get a little antsy with Nick Sirianni sometimes with your coach, because I know your coach gets on your nerves sometimes too. And I see some of them. And in fact, after the first game against us, I was listening to the radio station out there, WIP, and the fans were just letting loose on Sirianni's coaching, what he was doing. So I know the fans out there get really, really like they lose it when it's like, why is the Sirianni making these kinds of decisions when they don't need to be making those decisions? So I think it also comes down to coaching and it's like playing a game of chess. Who's going to make the best move is going to be the one that's going to probably win the ball game ultimately. Is what it comes down to.
Well, the one thing that I've seen from the Giants this year is, to me, they have the home road splits. Okay, and what I mean by that is when they're at home, they look really good at home. They've beaten the Chargers, they've beaten the Eagles, they played Kansas City tough at home. They looked really well and they played well at home. Now, I can say this: on the road, their defense didn't look good in Dallas. Their defense didn't look good in in New Orleans. They made Spencer Rattler look really, really good. They kind of got to Jackson Dart a little bit. Last week, I thought was a kind of a turning point for the Giants of how good they looked on the road. They kind of looked like they were building off that momentum. They really shut down that Broncos team for 3.5 quarters.
They did. Bo Nix was not throwing the ball well either, by the way. So he was struggling a little bit in that pocket, and they were getting to him a lot. But the only problem was our special teams didn't do the job. That's why we lost that game. Take away anything else, make those 2 extra points, we win that game.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's going to be tough. I actually, believe it or not, before the season started, I said every team in the NFC East would have a winning record. And I truly believe that. I'm going to stand on that because I didn't think the Giants were as bad as people made them out to be. I figured once they made the switch to Dart, they would get better. I'm not sold on Washington and Dallas because of their defenses, okay? Dallas got a great offense. They do. And they're going to, you know what? That game today is going to be something to see of how Dallas adjusts to that altitude and plays out there against that Denver defense. And I'm not sold on the Commanders. The Commanders are dealing with a ton of injuries right now. Jaden Daniels doesn't look like himself.
Nope.
So the Giants have a chance really to kind of make some noise in the division. And here's the thing. They have the remaining 2 division games they now have at home. So you have the Commanders coming to MetLife. You also have the Cowboys coming to MetLife, which I think the Giants could easily hang an L on both of them. They haven't seen Jackson Dart, and like I said, I'm not sold on the Cowboys or the Commanders' defense. So, again, I think the Giants can make some noise. I think the division's going to be – I think every team in the division is going to be above 500, and I think that they're really going to I think the Giants are going to shock some people this year. I really, truly do.
There's 2 games right there you just talked about there, Mike, that we should have won. We should have won the first game in Dallas, and we should have won against Denver. And then that's 2 games right there that all of a sudden we were right in the thick of that NFC East race. So, yeah. I mean, they also say one thing about divisions, you got to win your divisional matches too. So if we can get those splits between Washington and Dallas, we'll be in better shape because that means we've beaten everybody in the division now. So,
right, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm agreeing with you with this Giants team. My son is a Giants fan, by the way. My son, born and raised in Philly, is a New York Giants. How does that work? Me and his mom split, and his aunt converted him to a Giants fan. So I tell him, I said, "You made your choices. You got to live with it."
Be nice to him today. No fighting.
No. We got a cheesesteak bet going. So
that sounds like fun. I want to take that cheesesteak now.
So, but, we're sitting back here, and the way I'm looking at it right now is that I would really, really appreciate to see the Giants come along because, to me, I like rivalries when both teams are good. I remember as a young man in my teenage years, late 80s, early 90s, you had the Cowboys that were good, the Redskins, Washington was good, the Giants were good, and it was a round robin. When you watched NFC East football, it was a fist fight. And that's the only way I could put it. It was a fist fight.
It was.
Teams didn't like each other, and I want to see it get back to that. And I feel like, the Giants are on their way. They've made some really good moves. I love Malik Neighbors. I know he got hurt, and shame for that kid. But I'm also a huge Wendell Robinson fan. I think that kid in your lineup is really going to help you guys going forward. Like, you have a core 3 now. Actually, you got a core 4 because you have Robinson, Neighbors, you have Theo Johnson, and you got Cam Scatterboo running the ball. So I think the few, and then with Dark quarterbacking, you got a core there, man, on that offense where I think the Giants are going to be really tough going from here forward.
They will be, and they'll be battle tested before the end of the season. It's only October, so those games late in the season. My good point, they could become spoilers because the Eagles could be riding high, and maybe looking at locking down the division, but then the Giants be a team that they have to, or well, not now today, obviously, but teams that run the rest of the division. You mentioned the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is all banged up. I don't like their chances against Kansas City tomorrow night with Marcus Mariota at quarterback. I think that's probably a loss you can check off there. And then you mentioned Dallas out here playing against Denver. Yeah, altitude will be one factor because, teams don't like to play out here in these elements. And that altitude, believe it or not, does impact teams that are not used to the thin air out here. That's why they call this a state where if you're not used to the elements and how you can breathe, it can impact you. That's why you see guys with oxygen tanks on the sidelines because the air is so thin out here, it makes it tough to breathe. And when you're constantly moving, it does affect you at some point.
Well, that's why we always thought Pat would be good in Colorado because he is a bit of an airhead. So it might work. It might work out for Pat in this situation.
Hey, look, Mike. I also do a show on here called Props, Locks, and Parlays, which is a shingle. I call it. It's not a betting show, but we go through the lines and and I do props. The one prop bet I would take today in that Denver game is Brandon Aubrey hitting a 70-yard field goal. I think that could happen today.
He could hit it. He could. Breakfast has some kickers over the years. That's one of their things that just made them so good. They have some like Jason Neal. They had the kickers have been good over the years. I would not doubt the kickers can come through if they needed to. But again, they're used to playing those elements. The air is so thin. It's like when you go to a Rockies game, everybody's always wondering why are the Rockies games so high in scoring runs because the ball travels far out here in these elements. That's what it is in football. But there, the air is so thin it makes the ball travel far. There's more velocity, there's more trajectory on it. So yeah, it manages the teams that are used to playing out here, like the Broncos. So I think the Cowboys they might hang around a little bit today, but I still think Bo Nix is locked in. The fans out here are going crazy right now in these parks, gentlemen. They're 5-2. They're right there now with the Chiefs because the Chiefs are struggling a little bit. People are thinking that they could probably beat the Chiefs this year. And Bo is coming around. Patrick Surtain's playing great. The Broncos have not had this kind of success around here in a long time. So a win today would really send a message to the rest of that AFC that better watch out for these Denver Broncos because they're coming.
And here's the thing too; it kind of puts them ahead, really, in the tiebreaker. If you look at it, because if after tomorrow night, Kansas City only has one game left against the East, which is Dallas. I think it's on Thanksgiving. I think that's the Thanksgiving Day game. Yes. So they got to go to Dallas on Thanksgiving. They've already beaten. They've beaten the Giants and they're going to play the Commanders tomorrow. They're going to beat them, but they lost to the Eagles. Where if Denver wins this game today, they've already beaten 3 of the 4 teams in the East. They only have Washington left. So, that's kind of a who's who there. So go ahead, Pat. I know you're about to ask something.
No, like I said, Mike, I'm glad that you're on. A couple years back, you got playoffs. The last time talked Eagles Giants like this, I wore a blue polo shirt on a live remote with these two knuckleheads were with. I got called a Giants undercover Giants fan. I got called a turncoat. I got humiliated live on air because I wore a blue polo shirt.
He was. He was. Mike, we are doing. It was the playoff game. It was the playoff game.
Let me tell you, I gotta tell you, I had some fights with Eagles fans 3 weeks ago when the Broncos came out there and beat your boys. People were really complaining about the officiating in that game. They thought that they got robbed. They got screwed over. It wasn't a fair game. The Eagles got no calls. I'm like, well, you know what? The Eagles again, as I mentioned early on in this chat, the Eagles also hurt themselves with those turnovers and those penalties too. So the Eagles can't and even some of the broadcasts were saying, yeah, you might not like the officiating, but you can't neglect the fact that your own worst enemies when you commit turnovers or you make stupid penalties, especially on critical drives. Look for that though, is what I'm saying. It's going to be a key stat today. And then if that happens, then advantage Giants because they have not been making mistakes. They haven't played. I mean, they made some penalties last week out here, but the Eagles sometimes make some penalties. It's like, okay, you're moving the ball, but now you're going backwards. So it's like you can't do that, especially in a division match like this today. This is going to be a very critical match, I think, today. Very critical. This could set the tone for the rest of the division going forward.
Yeah, it can. It can. I mean, right now the Eagles are sitting at 1-1 in the division. So, we play Washington late in the year. So, for us, like us playing Washington, it's going to be like having to go back. We play them the last 3 weeks of the year. We play them twice with a game in Buffalo sandwiched in the middle. So it's like home for Washington, at Buffalo, and then, at Washington, at Buffalo, and then home for Washington at the end of the year. So yeah, it's definitely going to be something, because like I said, we have a rematch with the Cowboys coming up. After you guys, we got to bye. But right out of the bye,
much needed bye, by the way.
Oh yes, it is. I mean, we got some guys banged up. I mean, hey, listen, you guys are lucking out today. You guys ain't getting AJ Brown today going. He's not going to be able to go. So, I mean, I'm looking at this here, man. After our bye, we literally have a Monday nighter in Green Bay. We come home, have a Sunday nighter against the we have a Sunday nighter that comes in on against Detroit. Then we go to Dallas. So that's right. And then considering how we started off. So again, I think, Mike, this is going to be an awesome, awesome game. But I got a question for you. We always ask our guests this when we get towards the end of our show. What is your meal of the day? What are you going to go to? What is your go-to for football?
Well, it's funny because before I came in here today, I took out some frozen chicken and some beef. So I'm going to make myself a little some concoction later on to watch while I'm watching the game. I'm a foodie, so I like to throw things together, guys. But I'm a meat lover, so I just got some chicken, and I think I'm going to make some chicken. Maybe I'm fry it up with something with that later on, and just enjoy it and just have some fun because it's football. We like to have all these different foods when we're watching a sport like football anyway. So, and what's common with football? Chicken, beef, right? I mean, those are the common foods we eat when we watch football. Why not?
Well, I imagine it's probably just going on 7 o'clock your time there in the morning. So
8 o'clock, actually. It's 8 o'clock here now.
8 o'clock? Okay, so it's 8 o'clock there. So I guess your games start around 11? The 1
yeah,
o'clock?
Well, the game will start here at 11 o'clock. So the Eagles-Giants starts at 11 o'clock here. And the Broncos and Cowboys will kick off here local time at 2:05.
Dude,
wow!
I gotta admit, that's gotta be awesome, man.
That's gotta be awesome. Like we gotta wait till noon before we start getting hyped
over
up.
Before you guys are going to bed. It's like after the game's out here, it's only 4 o'clock when the games are. I'm like, okay, it's only 6 o'clock out here when the games are over. All those 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock East games are done. But these games out here on the West Coast is like it's only 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the day's pretty much done. Then you got Sunday night football at 6 o'clock, and then before you know, the night's over at 8 o'clock local time. So we're still kind of like chilling out after all these games are done. You guys are getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I mean
Sunday night football is almost midnight sometimes.
Yeah,
unless it's an overtime game or like and I didn't even get to mention that last game between the Cowboys and Packers that ended up in the draw. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know what's really funny too? I was in Vegas during football season one year, and like their game started at 10 a.m. I went to go get breakfast, and the guy goes, you're getting in here just in time. I said, what do you mean? He goes, we got the NFL buffet going. I said, oh, cool. I said, what's it start, like around 12, 1 o'clock? He goes, buddy, it starts in 15 minutes. I said, why so early? Like, I had no concept. I said, why? I said, football games don't begin at 1 o'clock. He goes, you're from the East Coast. He saw my Eagles hat. He goes, you from Philly? I said, yeah. He goes, time difference, man.
West Coast.
I said, Snikes, man. I forgot all about it. So it was
West
great.
Coast.
Like I paid like $20, dude. I got to sit in there, and like you said, literally by like dinner time.
You were in heaven, weren't you? You were in heaven with all those games on, eating all that food. It was like a paradise for you, I'm sure.
Oh, it was great. It was a place in Vegas in the Miracle Mile shop. It was called Blondie's. The place in there called Blondie's.
I'll make a note of that next time I go to Vegas and go check that out now.
Oh man, it's inside the Miracle Mile Walk or whatever. It's there's a place right across from Blondie's. It's called La Mexican Cantina. I think their breakfast is like $4.
Oh,
and you get
they give you plates, big size plates of this stuff too, man.
Yeah.
Doggy bags worth in just 2 bites.
Yep, and you also get like a Bloody Mary or whatever.
Oh yeah, don't even mention the drinks. Dude, the drinks are like dirt cheap out there. I know. I had a couple of margaritas when I was at the game last night. And let me tell you, I looked at my wallet. I'm like, wow, they were this cheap.
All right, so Mike, I want your final prediction on this game as we get ready to take this show home today. What's your final prediction on this game?
I'm going to say 24-21 Giants. Giants get a late field goal to make a 21-21 tie. Eagles get a chance to win it, but they'll probably come up short at the end. And I think it's going to come down to the last possession because whoever has the ball last will have a chance to win it.
Okay. I'm going to go a little differently than you.
Of course you are.
Shocker.
Everybody here is shocked.
What would you not? Oh, are you guys going to agree with me that the Giants are going to beat the Eagles? Oh, no.
Yeah. No. I think the Birds put up 31 on that Giants defense.
Oh, really?
I think they put up 31 on them. But I do think you're right. I do think it's a close game. I'm saying 31-24 Birds. And I think Jackson Dart throws. He gets a little taste of what it's like to go to the link today.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know if you guys saw the story this past week. I know you're getting ready to wrap up, but I don't know if you saw last week. The Giants got a little light in the wallet last week because of what happened with Jackson Dart in that first game. Remember, he went to the 10th to get his protocol for his concussion? Well, the league actually said there was some issues with the way they were handling that. And then so they were saying that Brian Dable and Scalabo both went to the 10th to see what was up with Dart, and they were saying that was against the league policy. So the Giants got some fines this week over that.
I saw that.
I don't know why my audio took a dump.
Yeah, you know what? The league has this policy. I was kind of wondering, like, wow, they got hit with that. I mean, it was fine. I was like, really? The Giants got fined this, and it wasn't cheap. I was like, okay, well, I think they were just checking on their quarterback because obviously, let's face it, Russell Wilson came in the next series after that, and what happened? 3 passes, incomplete. And what happened? The fans started booing Russell, and then all of a sudden they were calling for Dart to get back out there. Dart comes back out there like he was Willis Reed, and look what happened.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I want to thank you for joining us. Pat's having a little bit of issues this morning, but I definitely want to thank you for coming.
Appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, man, it was great, and it's going to be a good one today, man. I think it's going to be a really good game to watch today. I think we're going to see some fireworks, too. I think this is going to be a big decision. This is going to really set the tone for the NFC East going forward, I believe.
All right. Well, Mike, let everybody know where they can find you at.
At Lyle Multimedia on the Instagram and Twitter. That's where you can find me, all one word.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Mike, and we look forward to talking more stuff with you. Flyers Avalanche, that will be coming up. I love the Avs, by the way. They're one of my, Western.
Nuggets Sixers, by the way, because the Nuggets, I know you love your Sixers out there.
Yep, Nuggets Sixers. And then, of course, you got Phillies and Rockies whenever they get together.
We'll leave the Rockies alone for a while because they're in a different time. They're in a different realm right now. I mean, I love the Rockies. I cover the Rockies, but, yeah, let's leave it alone.
Well, Mike, thanks for joining us, man, and we look forward to talking with you in the future.
You got it, Mike. Thanks, guys. Take care. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Mike. Take it easy, bud.
Take it easy. Well, there you have it, man. Mike Lyle joining us live from Colorado. He loves the New York Giants, and he's a great guy, man, to have on. I look forward to doing more stuff with him. But, I mean, Al, we've come to that time. Pat's probably having pasta today. So, because Pat has
pasta. I got him back. Let me see if I got him back here. Hold on. Pat, you there? Pat, are you there, buddy? I think somebody's headphones came unplugged. All right.
Poor Pat. Guys, I will be with you today on the post game for the Birds. Make sure you check it out. No Matty B tonight or tomorrow. He will be back Tuesday to cover the Flyers. He has the Clear the Ice, but his show, The Final Word, will be back on Wednesday. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And also, Props, Locks, and Parlays. Me and Paul Spencer, we will be back Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. New time, new day. So we're just trying to spread it out a little bit. So me and Paul will be joining you guys on that. Quick little update on
Ryan was just asking, was there call-ins today? No, that was a guess, Ryan. But maybe next week.
Maybe.
If people want to submit ahead of time, maybe we will let some call-ins to those who want to join us, as long as it's within, reason, of course. And we'll hear from our normal morning guest, and we'll go from there.
Al, my picks for today. I got 5. Yesterday, brutal day for yours truly in the college world. I went 1-4. My only win was Vandy, who I've been on all year. They covered their 3. I lost Buffalo, University of Buffalo. They were -10. They lost. Kansas got blown out at home. They were -3. UCLA I took with 26.5, and they lost by 50. And, of course, South Florida lost that late game. They were -6. They lost late to Memphis. So I went 1-4 yesterday. So I'm trying to bounce back with a good day today. I am taking the Buffalo Bills -7 today over. Hold on, let me see where it's at here. Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo -7 over Carolina today. I'm also taking the Atlanta Falcons. And guess who's starting quarterbacking for the Atlanta Falcons?
Who?
Kirk Cousins, Mr. Sunday, 1 o'clock, is starting today.
Here we go. Here comes a big giant dump job, and I'm not talking about the Gobbler. I'm talking about Kirk Cousins.
Well, here's the only bad part about this. In this game today, out there playing the Miami Dolphins, who have quit. So I'm taking Atlanta.
And actually, I just saw something that Tua. What was I seeing? Tua here. I just had it up. Damn it. He might have like an illness or something. There you go. QB Tua Tagovailoa has been added into the injury report with an illness, but will have no game status designation. He is expected to start today's game versus Atlanta.
Yeah. So, and again, that team has just quit on Mike McDaniels. They're not even there. So I took Atlanta -7.5. I think Atlanta blows them out today. I took the Cincinnati fighting Joe Flacco's. That's right. The Cincinnati fighting Joe Flacco's, not Joe Burrows, Joe Flacco's. They're going to beat the Jets today. They're laying 6 in that game. I took that. I took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going into New Orleans -3.5. I think they get back on track today. And I also took the Denver Broncos -3.5. I think they pull away late from the Cowboys. That's my Fab 5 for today. And also, guys, I did a parlay. This week is National Tight Ends Week, right? So I did a tight end parlay for $1. I took Dalton Kincaid, Hunter Henry, Dallas Goedert, Ferguson, Tyler Warren, and Tucker Kraft, all for $1. That pays out $341 on $1. They're all touchdown scores for the week. Joey Sullivan checking in. What's up, buddy? Again, I like the Birds today, 31-24. Al, what do you like them today?
It's with all the injuries. I know everybody thought BG was starting. I don't know why they would even think that. But AJ Brown being out, I think this is going to be a Saquon kind of game. I think Saquon will kind of finally break free a little bit this week. They're not going to let Scatterboo run all over him. They're going to force Jackson Dart to throw to him, and I think that's the game plan that you need to do it. I'm going to go. I'm going 28-17 Birds.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened.
So, listen, guys, for Pat Bernard, who's having trouble in the worst way this morning, for him, Big Al, I am Mike Lowe, guys. I will see you guys back here for the post game. You guys have a good one. And look out on our socials. We'll let you know what we're having for the meal of the day. I just don't know what I'm having yet, so I can't really say what I'm having.
I was literally asked that. What are we doing for dinner tonight? No, I'm doing pork chops. I said it. We're doing pork chops. Pork chops are happening. We're having pork chops all night, baby.
Well, Al's having pork chops. Pat's probably having pasta. So, again, guys, thank you.
Pasta with a side of technical difficulties.
Yeah. And also, Pat will be taking a little bit of a hiatus, just to let you guys know. He will be back on November 8th. So, again, guys, make sure you're welcome Pat back with open arms when he comes back on the 8th. He will be taking just a brief couple-week hiatus. So, Al will be meeting you next week, and maybe with a special guest. We'll talk as we get off of here. So, guys, have a good
teaser, baby.
Yes. Make sure you tune in next Sunday because it's going to get buck wild in here. So, for Al, for Pat, I'm Mike Lauro. I will see you guys later.